Ciao, mi chiamo Emilia. Hello, my name is Emily, and today we're going to learn some interpersonal conversations in Italian to help you speaking Italian. Part 3, we are going to learn how to describe the weather, family, and things that you do during the day, specifically saying the time that you do them at in Italian, so you can have mini conversations, specifically saying about a paragraph for each of these. So we are specifically going through part 3 as if it is part of a high school or college exam where you have to do an oral presentation and describe the weather, is part 1 of this part 3, in Italian. So usually for oral exams in high school or college, they're going to make you do about a paragraph or more of describing something in Italian. So right now we're talking about the weather. So for the weather, if I had to talk about every season and say 2 things that I would wear, 3 weather types, and also say what my favorite season is, then here's how I do it. First, the 4 sentences are going to be for each weather. All right, and you're going to say what you'd wear and what the weather's like. Then the 5th sentence would be what's your favorite and why. So here we go. Here's our first one. In the spring, in primavera, I wear, indosso, a sweater, un maglione, and jeans. Dei jeans, dei means some, and some jeans. When it is cool, quando fa fresco, rainy, piove, and sunny. C'è il sole. Now, obviously, we could say something else. This is just an example sentence. And if you then take this format, then you can just use the same format for the other sentences to help you in your memorization. So let's say this sentence one more time. In the spring, I wear a sweater and jeans when it is cool, rainy, and sunny. In primavera, indosso un maglione e dei jeans quando fa fresco, piove e c'è il sole. So we just described the spring. So now we're going to describe the summer, 2 things to wear, and 3 weather expressions. In the summer, I wear a shirt, so like a t-shirt, and shorts when it is hot, sunny, and humid. AKA, this would be in estate, indosso, which means in the summer I wear, una maglietta, this is going to mean a t-shirt, e pantaloncini, and shorts, quando, when, fa caldo, it's hot, c'è il sole, which is one way of saying sunny, that you could also say è soleggiato, for and, c'è, which means there is, umidità, which means it's humid. C'è umidità. All right, so that whole sentence, in estate, indosso una maglietta e pantaloncini quando fa caldo, c'è il sole e c'è umidità. Now for the next season, the fall. In the fall, I could wear a lot of things, right? It depends what the weather is. But here's one example. A lady could wear a dress and a jacket when it is cool, windy, and good weather. So here if I was saying that in Italian, it's in autunno, indosso, I wear, un vestito, a dress, e una giacca, a jacket, quando fa fresco, when it's cool, like the in-between weather, c'è vento, which means there is the wind, but it's another way of saying windy. If you don't know that one, another one is è ventoso, so whichever one you prefer. And the weather is beautiful. Il tempo è bello. Or you could say fa bel tempo, whichever one you prefer. All right, so going over this again. In autunno, indosso un vestito e una giacca quando fa fresco, c'è vento, e il tempo è bello. Now on to the last season, winter. Here's an example sentence. In the winter, I wear a coat and a hat when it is cold, snowing, and it is cloudy. In Italian, I'd say in inverno, indosso un cappotto e un cappello. So that's a coat and a hat. Quando fa freddo, when it's cold. Nevica, snowing. Ed, another way of saying and, when the next word starts with a vowel. And è nuvoloso, and it's cloudy. One more time. In inverno indosso un cappotto e un cappello. Quando fa freddo nevica ed è nuvoloso. And then wrap up your weather expression paragraph by saying which one's your favorite. Now, my personal favorite is actually the winter, but I know a lot of people's favorite is the summer, so that's why I've put the summer on this page. It says my favorite season is the summer because good weather, no school, and the beach. Of course, what your favorite is and why it's your favorite is going to be different based on your opinion, right? So I'm just putting a general statement here. So if I wanted to say this in Italian, I'd say la mia stagione preferita, which means my season preferred, aka my favorite season, è l'estate, is the summer. Perché? Because c'è bel tempo, there's good weather, niente scuola, there's no school, e la spiaggia, and the beach. One more time, la mia stagione preferita è l'estate, perché c'è bel tempo, niente scuola, e la spiaggia. And there you go. You've made a whole paragraph about weather and your opinions on it. Next topic for part 3 is talking about your family. So let's try to include how many people are in your family. Do you have brothers and sisters? Are they older, younger, what their ages are? And a little bit about your parents. So we're going to do this in about 5 sentences. Sentence 1. There are 3 people in my family, which are my mom, dad, and me. Now, of course, the amount of people in your family is going to very much vary. This is just an example sentence. So I'd start off with ci sono, which means there are 3 people, 3 persone, in my family, nella mia famiglia, which are or who are, che siamo, my mom, my dad, and I, mia mamma, mio papà, e io. So that whole sentence, ci sono 3 persone nella mia famiglia che siamo mia mamma, mio papà, e io. Sentence 2. Telling about your mom and dad, but just the first part, just what are their names, and then we'll get into about them in a second. So my mom's name is Maria, and my dad's name is Marco. This is completely made up example. Let's try this out. Il nome di mia mamma è Maria. A lot of M's going on there, but of course you can change the name if Maria is not your mum. Il nome di mia mamma è Maria, e il nome di mio papà è Marco. And of course, you just change Maria and Marco with whatever your parents' names are. And now we're going to describe your mom and dad. Now, this could be sharing what they do for a living, or this could be just describing words about what they look like, how they act like, etc. This example sentence says, my mom is a teacher and my dad is a doctor. Mia mamma è un insegnante e mio papà è un medico. Now, if this example is actually for you, to make this easier, you could change medico to dottore, which is a little closer to the word doctor in English, and it's a synonym, so same thing. And insegnante is one way to say teacher, but if your mom is specifically an elementary school teacher, then it would be una maestra, which is a little shorter, possibly easier to say. Now, if your parents are not a teacher or doctor, then you would need to change those words entirely, right? So feel free to look up how to say other occupations, and even if it's just changing that your mom is a doctor instead, or your dad is a teacher, it can slightly change the ending sometimes, so make sure to double check that. But let's say this example sentence one more time. Mia mamma è un insegnante e mio papà è un medico. Sentence number 4. Now, if you don't have brothers or sisters, this is your answer. If you do, then I'll explain that in a second. I don't have brothers or sisters. Non ho, I don't have fratelli, brothers, o sorelle, sisters. Non ho fratelli o sorelle. Number 4, option 2. So what if you do have brothers and sisters? Well, obviously this is going to slightly vary depending on how many brothers or sisters you have. So the word will change for sister, brothers, and like if it was plural. And then it's also going to change based on who is older and who is younger. So just keep that in mind that those words on here will slightly change based on who you're describing. This is just simply an example. So if I want to say I have an older brother and one younger, I have an older sister and one younger brother. I'd say, ho una sorella maggiore. Think of the word majority, so more numbers, so older. Ho una sorella maggiore e un fratello minore, like minor, aka younger. All right, so ho una sorella maggiore, older sister, e un fratello minore, aka younger brother. Our last sentence will be describing if we had siblings, what their ages are. That will make our fifth sentence to be able to get all the information in of brothers, sisters, mom, dad, and describing them. So here we have my sister is 15 and my brother is 9 years old. Mia sorella ha 15 anni e mio fratello ha 9 anni. Again, of course, just an example sentence. Now, if you're needing to make 5 sentences and you don't have siblings, then you would still have, you're describing your parents, you'd have how many people are in your family, but you wouldn't have the sentence of their age, and you wouldn't have that they're older. But if you think back to what we had, sentence number 4 actually said, I don't have brothers and sisters. So if you don't, that's your number 4. So number 5 is just that you're going to redo the first sentence. The first sentence was, there are 3 people in my family, which are my mom, dad, and me. But if you don't have siblings, then just split that sentence into 2. All right, so I could say, ci sono 3 persone nella mia famiglia. One sentence. There are 3 people in my family. Sentence number 2, siamo, they are, mia mamma, my mom, mio papà, my dad, e io, and I. And then that way we get in all the information needed for this question to be able to talk about our family, but just split it in a different way. And here we are on part 3C. This is the last part. It's how to describe your day. Specifically, what do you do at what time in 5 sentences. Here is sentence 1, talking about when you wake up and when you actually get up, right? Sometimes you might be awake, but not actually get out of your bed yet. So here, if I said, I wake up at 7 a.m. and get up at 7:15 in the morning, I could say this in Italian as mi sveglio, which is saying, myself, I wake up alle 7, at 7, del mattino, in the morning, and mi alzo, and I wake up myself, or get up myself, alle 7, at 7, e 15, and 15, so 7:15, del mattino. So again, in Italian, mi sveglio alle 7, extra, del mattino, e mi alzo alle 7 e 15 extra del mattino. Because of course, if I'm saying I'm waking up and getting up, I presume it's in the morning. So that's why I'm saying del mattino is technically extra. Sentence number 2 of describing my day. When do you eat breakfast? I eat breakfast at 7:30 a.m. Faccio colazione. Now, this is really saying I do breakfast. So, faccio colazione alle 7, at 7, e mezza, and 30, and half really is what it's saying. So, half past the hour, del mattino. Again, mattino is sort of extra, right? Del mattino, so you could skip that part if you want to make it shorter. So, here's a sentence. Faccio colazione alle 7 e mezza, optional, del mattino. Sentence number 3. When do you arrive back home from school? I arrive back home from school at 4:20 in the afternoon. Hypothetical, of course. This is arrivo a casa da scuola. I arrive at home from school. Alle 4, at 4, e 20, and 20 del pomeriggio in the afternoon. Again, that's arrivo a casa da scuola alle 4:20 del pomeriggio. Sentence number 4. When do you start homework and when do you eat dinner? Here's a hypothetical sentence. Of course, you could tweak this. I start homework or initiate homework, initiate, a fare, to do, I compiti, the homework, at 5, alle 5, in the evening, di sera, and eat dinner. E cenno actually means eat dinner, both words combined. Alle 6, at 6, in the evening, di sera. They don't have a word for AM or PM, keep in mind. So that's why I'm saying in the evening. So again, this is inizio a fare I compiti alle 5 di sera e cenno alle 6 di sera. And then when do you go to bed? I go to bed at 10 in the evening. Now keep in mind, I feel like in the US they'd say I'm going to bed at 10 at night. But in Italy, they're really going to be saying I go to bed at 10 in the evening because evening technically is until midnight to them. So I go to bed at 10 in the evening. This is vado, I go, a letto, to bed, alle 10 at 10, di sera, in the evening. Again, saying in the evening is sort of optional. Of course, if you're going to bed, I presume that it's not in the morning, so you could take that out if you want to make it shorter for yourself. So, vado a letto alle 10 di sera. This video was created as a part 2 in mind to help somebody with a final exam in high school. But of course, conversational skills are helpful at any level. So if you're an adult, a child, beginner, intermediate, understanding how to describe things that are happening in your life can be truly helpful. So whether this is you using these phrases in life or for an exam, good luck, buona fortuna, you got this. If you loved this video, don't forget to follow us and also check out our bio where we have a link to free lessons and subscribing to information about our lessons. This way you can hear about some upcoming private lessons that you can sign up for and even some group options. Message us to sign up today. Looking for more videos like this? Like and subscribe. And guess what? We also teach private and group Italian lessons through Knowledge Adventures in online sessions. So message us for details if you would like to learn more. Ciao!